Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been. Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show. We bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And today, Bitcoin's dropped very hard. We've seen Bitcoin drop nearly $1,000 overnight. And today, we're going to be talking about some of the major reasons for that. We're going to talk about some of the dark clouds that are hanging over Bitcoin. We're going to talk about what that drop looked like, and we're also going to talk about where Bitcoin is going to go from here, because I think it's very important that you guys have some context over what led to this drop and what this drop is actually going to mean for Bitcoin. We've got a prediction that I'm going to outline more in a video that's going out in exactly 1 hour, that the first 2 weeks of June are going to have some dark clouds over them, and that it's going to be a very difficult season for Bitcoin. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That video is already premiering over on the YouTube channel titled "The United States is Going Bankrupt, the United States Debt Ceiling Explained." You guys have been asking for me to talk about that. An agreement is but days away, so make sure to watch that video when it comes out. We're also going to be talking today how some of those dark clouds that we'll discuss in that video play into what we are going to be seeing, what we have seen and what we're going to see on the price action charts over the next couple of days here on Bitcoin. Over on those Climate of Crypto videos, over in our Up Next series that we just launched last Saturday, we talk about what the future outlook for the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market looks like on a much longer term time scale. I want those videos to be relevant for a month or two, but here in Coffee and Crypto, we have the great pleasure of being able to analyze down to the minute, down to the day, what is happening on the Bitcoin chart. Very excited for today's stream, so let's go ahead and read some chat. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Grand Roofing Incorporated is in chat. He said, good morning, everybody. Mike Lowry is in chat as well, said good morning. Grand Roofing was first, so shout out to you. Daniel J said, good morning, all. BNB TC Crypto Alert said, morning, Jebb. Core Khan, that's a cool name, said hello. Grand Roofing Incorporated said, wow, totally was not expecting to be first. Well, at least it shows me as first. You are indeed first on my screen anyway. So welcome. Joe Bollier, Schmedley B said, good morning. Mike Lowry again. Rave Song Records, longtime fan of the channel, said, good morning, Jebb. Love your way of thinking. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Shadrach Frost in chat said, woot. Good morning, Jebb in chat. Good morning to you. And a name from old. I haven't seen you in a little while, my friend, but welcome back. Phil the Flying Frenchman is in chat. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Really, greatly, well and truly appreciate you for being here. All right, let's go ahead and jump on over to CoinMarketCap. We're going to be doing some heavy Bitcoin technical analysis today. I decided to bring the camera back in the bottom left. You guys seem to want that, but I'm still kind of experimenting on your sentiment. In fact, I might run a poll later when we have a few more people joining in chat, so we have a bigger sample size. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at $27,000. It's down 2.5% over the last 24 hours. Ethereum down 2% over the last 24 hours. XRP up 2% over the last 24 hours. Cardano down 1.3%. In general, the cryptocurrencies are doing very well over the last 90 days and over the year to date. And in fact, it's been a relatively good week for the majority of cryptos, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum has had a very good week, up nearly 4%. Bitcoin's had a pretty solid week as well, up 2.6%. But that doesn't mean that the last 24 hours have been remarkably bullish, because they definitely haven't. You see, we had talked yesterday about how Bitcoin had already put 4 confirmations in place, but it needed to see 3 more before it could go into a major rally, and there were some dark clouds sitting off in the future. Briefly, let's go ahead and run through those. I do just realize I forgot to plug my Mac in. I have the cord right there. I just need to reach down and grab it. So if my Mac gets a little bit low, I'll have to go and do that. Apologies for that. Right now, Bitcoin has gone through 4 major confirmations that give us some confidence that it's in a rally, but there were also 3 that we wanted to see that we talked about yesterday. Briefly rehashing, we don't want to go too much into that. You can go watch yesterday's stream where I break all of that down as concisely as I can if you'd like. but I'll just give you a little bit of a recap. Bitcoin had seen Bitcoin had seen a buy signal coming in from Lux Algo on the daily chart. That buy signal came into play right here. We saw a green trend catcher. That was a confirmed buy signal. We also saw I almost said a buy signal. We also saw a bullish confirmation coming here from MACD. We saw RSI break above the 50 level, and we saw Bitcoin hold above the 50, above the 100 daily simple moving average, and broke above the 50 daily simple moving average. Now, what I told you yesterday, if you'll remember from the stream, I said that there was a level called the point of control coming in from VRVP that was sitting at roughly $28,000. That point of control sits right here, again at 27,974. So we can confidently call that 28K. Sitting here at 28K was the first bit of our resistance. Then we had this downtrending level of resistance, and we had this flat level of resistance at 28,545. That all-important level that was set in motion nearly 2 years ago on June 22nd, 2022. That level back here, it doesn't show up quite clearly on this chart because this chart shows it a little bit differently, but historically and typically we call it 28,545. That low was set on one chart on June 22nd of 2 years ago, of 2021. So those levels were still above Bitcoin, and so for that reason, I told you guys that Bitcoin was likely to have a difficult time going into a rally, and that long that we had given you an example of, you could have gone into, but honestly, you probably should have had a tight stop loss and probably should wait until we have more confirmation. If you want to be risky, then you could go into it, but if you wanted a more wise trend, a more wise entry, a more let's see, how shall I say this? A more risk-free trade that has more confirmations, then you ought to wait until about 28.6. Well, it seems that the wise route was the route to take, even though you may have gotten in a little bit late, because you wouldn't have gotten in at all and you would have missed out on this correction. So that's something to keep in mind here. Bitcoin has attempted a rally. It has not so far succeeded. It is still in this downtrend right here. The other thing we spoke about yesterday was the reason behind Bitcoin having trouble getting through these levels. Now, we're going to expand upon that in a lot more detail in the video that's coming out a little bit later. Guys, I think this is, and I've said this a few times, but it's because we keep getting better. I think this video that's coming out here in just a little while is the best video that we have made on this channel in a very long time. I am extremely excited about how this video turned out. There's a lot of work that I've been doing behind the scenes on the planning and the systematization of these videos. Really excited for this video. The United States is going bankrupt. We're going to be explaining the debt ceiling and a few other things, a few other compounding factors that are making it very difficult for Bitcoin to go into a major rally. So make sure you go and watch this video. It will be premiering right after this stream is over on our series Climate of Crypto. You can see the little name badges up here will signify what kind of video we're looking at. A lot of people already in the chat over here. There were about 20 people waiting earlier. A lot of you guys came over to the stream. So thank you for joining the stream, but make sure to go and watch that video when we're done, because we'll talk about those dark clouds. Point. Bitcoin was trying to go into a rally. It had some confirmations. Those confirmations were the Lux Algo buy signal that was confirmed with trend catcher, MACD crossing bullish, RSI crossing above the 50, and breaking above the 50 daily simple moving average. Excuse me, above the 50 daily exponential moving average. We've now fallen below the 50 daily EMA, and we've also now fallen below the 50 level on the RSI, and we're also below the trend catcher on Lux Algo. All of that to say, many of the bullish confirmations that we had yesterday have actually now undone themselves, and so Bitcoin's sitting on more confirmations that need to happen than confirmations that have. So that leads me to the prediction that while Bitcoin may have a bullish second half of June, at this point I think the beginning of June is unlikely to be bullish for many reasons, again, that we will discuss in this video. I don't want to spoil your dinner and ruin what this video talks about, but I think you're really going to appreciate the insight that you'll get from this video on some of the reasons why Bitcoin is having trouble right now. So let's talk about what the market has done, and let's talk about where the market will go, starting first with what the market has done. Thus far, Bitcoin has been in a major corrective movement ever since we hit local highs at $31,000. Many different factors have led to that drop. Let's just do a little bit of a recap so that we have our history. Some of the things that have occurred, number one, we've seen major crackdowns from the Securities and Exchange Commission and very difficult comments coming from Gary Gensler that may or may not be substantiated with policy. For example, we saw the Binance, Binance coin, the BUSD stablecoin. The Binance stablecoin came under fire from scrutiny, and Paxos had to shut it down. It is now in the process of slowly dying. It's lost over 80% of its market capitalization from where it was a little over a year ago, and we've also seen comments from Gary Gensler that everything other than Bitcoin is a security. Now, him just saying that doesn't mean that they are securities. But Gary Gensler, being the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, very ambitious man that wants to expand the SEC's footprint, by saying that implies that the SEC is likely going to come for the rest of the altcoins, which has led to quite a lot of concern in the cryptocurrency space. All of that happened back in this area right here. On top of that, during the first quarter of this year, we were seeing massive CPI drops. If we go to bls.gov/CPI, we saw that we were seeing major drops of 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4%. In fact, I think I have a chart on this. If I go right here, you can see I actually have it listed down at the bottom. We had a 0.5, we had a 0.5%, excuse me, these are the effective federal funds rate. I thought I had these here. I used to have a chart with CPI data on it. I think I cleared it. I apologize. Those were the EFFR drops. Do I have it right here? These are the dates. Yes, these are the dates of the CPI drop. So I don't actually have it here, but these are the dates. My point is, we saw, I think it was a 0.4% CPI drop here, 0.1, 0.4, and then like a 0.2. And we saw that CPI was starting to tail off. Now we're getting into this period where it's sticky. May 10th came around. We saw a CPI data release, and it was not a very good one. We saw a 0.1% drop, and the CPI moved sideways. We also saw another a 25 basis point rate hike coming out on May the 3rd. We've had many different compounding factors that have stopped the growth of Bitcoin. And one of the other compounding factors that I haven't spoke about much on this channel are the BRC-20 and ordinal developments going on over on Bitcoin. Those, in a way, have been very bullish for the Bitcoin miners, because the miners are actually able to make a lot more money on the transaction fees right now, because transaction fees are through the roof. That being said, the development of ordinals and BRC-20 tokens has led to major congestion on the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency network, which leads many people to wonder, is this actually a good thing for Bitcoin? Because it's going to make Bitcoin's already slow blockchain even slower, because come the bull market, how is the Bitcoin blockchain possibly going to keep up with the ordinal inscription and BRC-20 revolution and all the transactions that will be coming on chain when we get to that point in time? So there are plenty of different compounding factors that have happened. We're going to talk about in our video coming out here in about 50 minutes, the compounding factors that are on the horizon. But the point is, there's this kind of dark cloud hanging over Bitcoin and has been here for the last couple of months. So that leads to the point, what happened? Why did Bitcoin fail to break through this level? Well, quite simply, I think it failed to break through this level and had a very difficult time breaking through that level because it didn't have a backdrop of bullishness to push it forward. It didn't have any major catalytic event that would drive the market to the upside. So yesterday I was in a town. I was talking to a fella anyway, and we heard this just extremely loud car drive by, and there was a Mustang in the fast lane, and there was this brown SUV in the slow lane, and this car was just it was extremely loud, just like boom, jet engine. And I looked over at the guy I'm talking to, and I said, I don't think that was the Mustang. I think that was the SUV. And he said, yep, that was the SUV. I actually know a guy who knows the guy who owns the SUV. And the reason it's so loud is because he took the cat out and sold it for $500. And so now it makes all that noise. You see, whenever you take a catalyst out of something that needs a catalyst, then you just get a bunch of annoying noise. And that's what that guy's car is doing, because he took the catalytic converter out. And when you take the catalyst out of Bitcoin, it fails to rally. Bitcoin has not had a catalyst. It has not had a catalytic bull market inducer, if you want to just make up some kind of Doc Brown fancy term. It has not had some kind of catalytic induction of a rally. And we've also seen these dark clouds of FUD over the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. That, in my opinion, is why Bitcoin has failed to break above $28,000. And that's not a bad thing, because if you'll remember back to last Saturday's video, when I told you, when I explained in our Up Next video, our first episode of Up Next, and I told you what's up next for Bitcoin, I showed you this chart. I showed you this chart that I'd like to see Bitcoin going into a rally in the first 2 weeks of June. Based on everything we're going to talk about in today's video on Wednesday, it doesn't seem like the first 2 weeks of June are going to happen. It seems like this rally that I'm hoping for will actually come towards the second half of June. But one of the things I talked about in that video is that Bitcoin could go as low as $24,700. That's not the short trade. That's just the end of this downtrend. If Bitcoin does continue to reject here, and forgive just how messy this chart is, if Bitcoin does continue its downtrend here, I'll just go ahead and remove some of these drawings. then it would be fulfilling what we talked about here. It would be fulfilling a drop down towards those original price targets before we saw the breakout, and the breakout timing would just need to be moved a couple of weeks forward. Bitcoin could very well drop back down to 25,236 again because of these dark clouds. We're likely to see more bearishness coming into the market over the next couple of days as we see things like the debt ceiling agreement loom, as we see the stock market struggling to break through its local level of resistance at $420, and as we see things such as the Dixie performing very well. You can see the Dixie's been going through a major rally, and that is another confounding factor to this rally, with the Dixie up 3 points in just the last month. That, of course, is not going to lead to a lot of bullishness on Bitcoin, because if you'll remember, we talk about quite extensively here, the Bitcoin market is inversely correlated to the SPY. Excuse me, it is positively correlated to the SPY, and it is inversely correlated to the Dixie. If we just look at the history here, remove all of our drawings for a moment so we can see. If we look at the history here, and we look at just the SPY, we can see Bitcoin is very highly correlated to the SPY. Zooming out in history, it'll be even more apparent. Bitcoin is very highly correlated to the stock market. The stock market has been correcting today and yesterday, so Bitcoin has been correcting today and yesterday. Even down to the daily chart, it is still that relevant. On top of that, because of a lot of the work being done at the Fed, the Dixie is moonshotting. You can see what the Dixie, when the Dixie went through its major rally here in February and on into early March, it went through a major rally from 101 all the way up to 105.5. That was the time where the Bitcoin market was struggling. Why? Because many investors view the Bitcoin market as a hedge against the dollar, and if the dollar is performing exceptionally well, then they see no reason to get into Bitcoin. Lately, we've seen the Dixie performing very well, which exacerbated the effects of that May 3rd effective federal funds rate decision, and also exacerbated the effects of that May 10th CPI data release being lackluster. All of that came together at the same time in that first and second week of May to lead to a big drop on Bitcoin that dropped us down to 25.7, and now we're seeing the exact same impacts being felt because they never actually let up in the first place. We're seeing the Dixie rally, and so Bitcoin is moving inversely to that. You can see very easily that there is an inverse correlation between the Dixie and the Bitcoin market. If we just look here at a vertical line, this is going to bring our drawings back, but look at our vertical line here. As Dixie's going down, Bitcoin's in a bull market. As soon as Dixie starts going up, Bitcoin rallied, but it entered its bear market. A lot of people actually argue that the top for the Bitcoin bull market was April 20th, 420, at $65,000. And this second top over here at $69,000 was just a massive bounce. If you follow that trend, I don't know that I necessarily do, then you can see that the bear market took place right between about June 22nd or so of 2021, going all the way over here to roughly late September, early October of 2022, as the Dixie was on a massive run. Bitcoin in general, with a couple of exceptions, but in general, went on a massive crash as the Dixie went on a massive rally. Again, just like with the stock market, the Dixie's impacts are felt on the longer term time frames, but they're also felt down there on the daily chart. So with the Dixie rallying, it's no surprise that Bitcoin's going down, and with the stock market going down, it's no surprise that Bitcoin's going down either, because when the Dixie rallies, Bitcoin corrects, and when the stock market corrects, Bitcoin corrects. That is a perfect storm for correction on Bitcoin that is also, as I said, compounded by everything else that we've discussed. Now, the good news is several of these trends are likely to change. So what has happened? We've spoken about what has happened. We've seen the Dixie's been through a major rally. We've seen the stock market has had trouble getting above 420. We've seen that that Bitcoin has run into issues with the effective federal funds rate hiking. We've run into issues with the CPI data being lackluster on May the 10th. Now, what's going to happen is more than likely Bitcoin is going to have a correction, and that correction is going to lead it further to the downside, where it will be able to set a more permanent bottom. We thought maybe that there was a permanent bottom here at 25.8, but as I told you guys, if we rewind the clock and we look at the take profit on LuxAlgo, the take profit on LuxAlgo for this sell signal was always lower than where Bitcoin had actually gone. Bitcoin has a buy signal now, so this take profit isn't in play anymore. But if we just remember historically, this take profit started at 25.8. It goes all the way down to 23. there's always been this prediction in the back of our minds that we've been making here on the channel that Bitcoin dropping to 25.8 was not enough, and it's starting to seem like that may be the case. It is possible at this point that a backtest of 25.8 is going to be necessary. It's possible, guys, that we're going to need to come down here to the stop loss of this buy signal. This buy signal is probably very soon to revert into a sell signal. But don't forget where the stop losses are. The stop losses are in the same place as the take profit was on that sell signal. They're sitting at 25.3 all the way down to 22.5. Almost identical positioning to what we just looked at a second ago. If we look right here, you can see the take profit for this short looks virtually identical to the stop losses on this buy signal. And so that's where Bitcoin is likely to go. It's likely to drop down to 25,236 at this point unless it is able to find support again on the 100 daily exponential moving average. And that's possible. It is very possible that Bitcoin's finds support here on the 100 daily EMA. My concern is that we've tested it once, twice, the third time we put candle bodies below it. Now we're coming down to it even faster than we have in a long time. How much can the 100 daily exponential moving average really take? The 100 DEMA is designed to be broken during bull market corrections. We've seen it happen many times during the 2016-17 bull market. The 100 DEMA, as you can see right here, was broken many times, and Bitcoin would eventually fall down to the 200 DEMA or just above it, especially during the beginning of the bull market. Not so much towards the later part of the bull market where we were going parabolic, but during the beginning, we would many times drop all the way down below the 100 DEMA. You can see it right in here. That's that middle line. And we would drop down into the zone between the 100 and the 200. That is likely to be what will happen again on Bitcoin this time. We've technically already done that, but we're probably going to see even more of that action, meaning that the absolute bottom for this correction is probably going to be down at 25.7 again, at least, if not even a little bit lower. I'd like for us to hold 25.236. I'd like for us to hold in this trading channel and not break bearish out of it. That would be, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it wouldn't be exactly the best look. That being said, the next 2 weeks, I think, are going to absolutely pound Bitcoin from a fundamental standpoint. And the reasons for that, again, we'll be discussing in that video later. You've heard some of them. You haven't heard all of them, so make sure that you don't miss that. Bitcoin has had a difficult time of it over the last 2 months. But the thing I want to remind you is that many of those headwinds that Bitcoin has been facing, number one, have been fundamental and temporary. Number two, many of those headwinds, Bitcoin has fought very hard through and managed to hold. Despite all of the headwinds, just a quick recap, despite the SEC Chairman Gary Gensler saying everything's a security, despite the SEC coming after BUSD, despite all the bankruptcies and their contagion that we're still dealing with to this day, despite the effective federal funds rate continuing to hike, despite the Dixie rallying, the stock market having trouble moving to the upside and past resistance, despite lackluster GDP numbers, despite the debt ceiling fiasco that's going on right now, that's bringing huge amounts of FUD into the market, despite the Russian-Ukrainian war, despite the potentiality of China invading Taiwan and just blowing up geopolitics and completely rewriting the course of the next 80 years for human civilization, despite all of that, and also despite the lackluster CPI numbers, I forgot those, despite all of that Bitcoin's having to contend with, and by the way, and despite the fact that there's not really any bullish news, just keep that in mind. There's not really any bullish news. It's just bearish news. Despite all of that, and considering the fact that the Bitcoin chain is massively congested right now and fees are super high. I could keep going. I'm sorry. Despite all of that, Bitcoin has managed to hold fast, and it's taken it 43 days just to drop 16%. Bitcoin has shown extreme amounts of steadfastness in the light of all of the bearishness that we've been witnessing. And in doing so, it's built a huge amount of support here in this transitionary zone. If you guys remember this chart right here, this chart is in a video that ended up getting like 50,000 views on the YouTube channel a little while ago. Let me just show you that video really quick. This chart that I'm actually charting on today is in this video back here. It's got 49,000 views. A clock will send Bitcoin to $50,000. In that video, we talk about the transitionary zone. The transitionary zone for Bitcoin sits between $25,236 and $28,545. That zone, in my opinion, is the zone that Bitcoin needs to fight through to go into what I call the pre-halving phase of the bull market and approach the end of year price target that I have of between $35,000 and $50,000. Bitcoin getting into this box right here, the pre-halving phase of the bull market, is going to require it to get free of the transitionary zone. Basically, what Bitcoin is trying to do is it's trying to go into a bull market, but there's just a bunch of things dragging it down. And so right now, the metal of this rally is being tested. Is Bitcoin serious? Is Bitcoin actually going to be able to go through a major rally? You know, it's interesting. Let me just, I don't have the whole thing memorized, so let me pull up, give me 1 second. Let me pull up the verse here. There's a verse that's been on my heart lately. A passage is James 1:2-4. I'll just read it really quickly. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience, but let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. And essentially what that verse is saying, and I feel like it's a season in my life right now, is that you are going to be tested. You are going to be tried by the fire, and things are going to come at you that you are not ready for, that you have never experienced before, that you are not able to handle in your own strength. And that is the season that you grow. The point of the verse says that my brethren count it all joy when diverse temptations are come. Diverse temptations being anything that's a difficulty. It's translated as difficulties in other translations. Count it as joy. Let me give you an example. What this verse is kind of saying is that spiritually, it's like going to the gym. When you go to the gym, and you break muscle. You're bench pressing, you're squatting, you're deadlifting, you're doing curls, you're doing overhead, but whatever it is that you're doing, you are breaking down muscle. And if you're like me, I love going to the gym and I love breaking down muscle and I love going through difficult situations with weights because I know that I'm growing. Spiritually, whenever we're attacked by something, whenever something's difficult, we know that we're growing. And it shows what we're really made of. At the end of the age, when we go to heaven, we are going to have our works tried by fire. What will be left? That's kind of what Bitcoin's going through right now. It's being tried by fire. What's going to be left of Bitcoin after this season of 2 months of trial? Seemingly, Bitcoin's doing a pretty good job of it because we've had all kinds of fires. I listed them earlier. I don't need to repeat them, but remember, war, geopolitical realities, economic realities, regulatory realities, technical realities. By technical, I mean technological and technical analysis factors coming into play. All of these things have been standing against Bitcoin. And yet, Bitcoin seemingly has counted it all joy for their brethren that they have faced, Bitcoin has faced those diverse temptations, and it has grown that it may be entire, wanting nothing, ready for the next bull market. In short, what I'm saying is this. Bitcoin has been facing extreme headwinds, and it has proven over the last 2 months that while it will go through what is a healthy correction, it is not done with this bull market rally. Instead, Bitcoin has only dropped 15 to 16%, only about $5,000. That is a completely and totally healthy rally. In fact, it would be healthy if it dropped even farther. But it's managed to stand up against all of that because there's a belief in what Bitcoin is doing here. There's a belief in this market from the investors inside the market. And there's also a growing belief in the rest of the world that Bitcoin is actually going to be relevant in finance over the next 50 and 100 years. It's going to be relevant. And so many of the altcoins might not be relevant. So many of the altcoins are trading sideways, but Bitcoin, there's something special about it. It's one of the greatest tools that humankind has ever created on this earth that helps people to achieve financial sovereignty. And that's why I love it. That's why I love Bitcoin so much. That's why I'm such a big fan of it. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I think there's a lot of value in a lot of altcoins, but I do love Bitcoin, and it holds a special place in my heart because when it goes up against challenges, it shows that it's the real deal. And so that's what I think we've been seeing. I think we've seen that Bitcoin has faced off against huge challenges, and Bitcoin has shown for good that it is the real deal. And I do think you're going to see another bull market. Is that bull market going to be a 700-800% rally? Maybe not. I think the days of Bitcoin rallying over 1,000% every single bull market are over. I hate to tell you, but Bitcoin will probably not breach $200,000 this bull market. But I do think that Bitcoin will hit all-time high and go a little bit higher this bull market. And I think the bottom for the next bear market won't be 15,000. It might be 30, it might be 35, it might be 40. And generally and gradually, slowly but surely, Bitcoin will be rallying throughout the rest of this decade in general. And those that put their money in this asset right now are going to be in a better place in 10 years than they were now, because the growth in this asset, Bitcoin, is going to bring wealth untold to the number of people that invest in it. And I hope that you'll join us on that journey. If you're interested in joining us on that journey, one of the ways you can do that is by hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, hitting that post notification bell so you won't miss a single stream, you won't miss a single episode of Up Next or Climate of Crypto or FinSov Financials. We've got 2 new series that we've started, by the way. So just keep that in mind. The kind of videos we make over on the channel, we've got 3 series. I don't know if I actually explained this on the stream yet, but I'll explain it because you guys are some of like the most diehard fans of the channel. There's 3 series we're doing right now. Number 1, we're doing Climate of Crypto. That's a series that we've been doing for quite some time. That breaks down some of the big kind of puzzle pieces that are impacting Bitcoin right now. That's what we're going to be premiering here in 30 minutes. Then we've also got a new series I launched last Saturday called Up Next. That's basically me breaking down why Bitcoin is where it is, where Bitcoin's going next, and how to trade and invest it. If you have not seen the video that went out on Saturday, I'd highly encourage you to watch it, even if you're just watching it so you can get a feel for the format, and you guys can tell me what you think about that. And then the video that we made with Dave Ramsey on the thumbnail. Anyway, I'd love to do a collaboration with Dave Ramsey in the future. This video, 4 Bitcoin investing mistakes keeping you poor. Didn't get a lot of views. I expected as much because it's a new concept. It's a lot more geared towards personal finance. But if you watch this video, this is the first episode of FinSov Financials. This video is the first episode of Up Next. And then, of course, we have a Climate of Crypto video coming out now. Those are our 3 playlists right now that I'm trying to flesh out what each of those series look like. So tell me in chat if you guys are interested in any one of those series. And in fact, I'm going to run 2 polls. What is your favorite series on crypto, Jebb? FinSov Financials. Up Next. Got to type out a poll really quickly here. Climate of Crypto. There we go. Ask your community. All right, I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. By the way, like I said, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps to boost the engagement of the channel. It helps to share the video. It helps YouTube to know to share the videos with other people so they come and check out the stream. And it also helps to let me know that you guys are enjoying the content. So by the way, feel free to always to give me honest feedback. If it's negative feedback, then please be respectful, but I can take it. I can take some constructive criticism. So feel free to let me know what you guys think about the stream in chat. Speaking of, we're going to go ahead and read chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've got almost 400 people watching live right now. Really appreciate all of you for tuning in. So for the last little bit here on the stream, we're going to go ahead and read chat. I love getting to interact with you guys. One of my favorite parts of the stream. So make sure to let me know any questions you have. This is a great Q&A environment. You can ask me questions about crypto, geopolitics, finance, personal finance, the stock market, economics, my personal life, whatever you want to ask. And we'll break it down from there. If they can't come to an agreement on the debt ceiling, everything crashes. Yes, Robert Casanova, definitely watch the video that's coming out soon because we talk about what happens if they don't. Timothy Liska said, we appreciate you, Jebb. Your TA is very good. Thank you. Queen said, Jebb is on fire. Thank you, Queen. No one takes Gary Gensler seriously anymore. Well, maybe no one takes Gary Gensler serious anymore other than the Securities and Exchange Commission, which has to report to him, which is one of the most important agencies on the planet for the regulation of Bitcoin and crypto. So whether we take him seriously or not, the fact is he has power. Power is a very dangerous or very constructive thing depending on who wields it. Crab market. Yep, that's what we're in. We're in a crab market. We are in a crab market. Pastor Jebb, Bitcoin needs R&R. I understand. Yep, that's a good way to put it. Jebb, could you tell us more about the gym? What would you like to know? I'll tell you something about the gym. I haven't been in a few months, and we want to get back to the gym, but it's a little bit difficult because, of course, we have a newborn, so we've been trying to get back to the gym relatively soon, but we shall see. You guys seem to really be coming out for the FinSov Financial series. It sounds like there's a small but like a diehard cohort of fans of that series with the personal finance stuff. I really thought that would happen. I thought there would be a big subset of you guys. I thought a lot of you guys that are just crypto fans wouldn't really care much for it. But some of you guys would just be like, boom, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for personal finance content. So probably won't make too many videos in that light, maybe 2 a month, something in there, 1, 2 a month. But I am really excited for those. And again, like I said, I'm still trying to flesh out what each of those series look like. And of course, I know you guys really only know the one series, Climate of Crypto, but I'm excited to see what these things will turn into. Shadrach Frost in chat, member for 21 months. Thank you so much, my friend. Said, much love, brethren. Brother. I was thinking about the verse we read earlier. Much love, brother. Psalm 31:24. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all you who hope in the Lord. Amen. Love to see it. Jebb, you should try fasting and keto to cure your issue with getting sick all the time. How would, like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just genuinely curious. How would that help? Like, what would that do? Like, wouldn't I get more sick if I didn't have any calories or nutrients? And if I cut carbs, wouldn't I, my body's not used to keto. I don't, you know, I mean, God gave us carbs. I've never done the keto diet. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't speak on it because I haven't done it, but yeah. Good deal. Let's see. One day we're in a bull run, the next day we're in danger. Yeah, that's the kind of the thing, is that it goes back and forth. We're not in a bull market one day and we're in a massive crash the next day. We are. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Will ETH outperform Bitcoin? That's a great question, Poita Bogan. So that's a question that really comes down to regulation. You still get the same amount of calories just in a shorter time frame. Oh, you're talking about intermittent fasting. I thought you were just saying, hey, don't eat anything for a week. Yeah, as far as if you're talking about intermittent fasting, I've definitely heard of the benefits of that. The fact to consider on the Ethereum versus Bitcoin debate is that Bitcoin is the king, and it is the place that most traditional finance investors are going to come. And whether we like it or not, we are going to need to see a lot of traditional finance come in to bring about a major rally on Bitcoin. And that should not be seen as a bad thing. That should be seen as a way that we can grow the industry and we can intermingle with them. If we're trying to change the way the traditional finance works in some areas, of course, the banking sector, et cetera, then we're going to need to cooperate with them at least a little bit. You can't just have this giant revolution and overthrow everybody and say, hey, we're just going to destroy traditional finance and not have any part of it. Bitcoin is going to have to figure out how it locks in to that system and changes it. Does that make sense? Like when a virus takes over a cell, it doesn't just turn the cell into one giant virus. It changes the way the cell works into a virus factory. So we're going to have to work with traditional finance a little bit so that we can convert them. The idea is not just to say, forget all of you guys, we're going to rebuild another system. No. 95% of Americans are in the traditional finance system, not just in the DeFi system. So we've got to teach them some of the principles of decentralized finance and financial sovereignty. So with that in mind, many of the traditional financial investors are coming into, whether they be institutional or individual, they're coming into Bitcoin first. So the mass amount of institutional finance is going to come into Bitcoin. But that being said, of course, the second place that they're going to put their money would be into Ethereum. So there's going to be inflows into Ethereum, but there's going to be a lot more into Bitcoin. The tricky thing is also for Ethereum is that there's a potential that either Ethereum or some of its layer 2s start getting labeled as securities. Whether they should be labeled as securities or not is kind of a moot point. I definitely don't think they should be. That being said, that is a concern for anybody who is trying to invest in Ethereum. Any institution that wants to put money into Ethereum and worries, are they going to be labeled a security and then regulated out of existence, kind of has a valid argument there of saying, hey, I don't know if I want to put $100 million in my client's funds into a cryptocurrency that could get regulated in such a way that it wouldn't be able to trade anymore, that it wouldn't be able to perform anymore on the open market in one of the ways that brought it its value in the first place. So will Ethereum outperform Bitcoin? As far as technology is concerned, maybe. And the reason I say maybe is because Bitcoin is because Ethereum has some very powerful technology that can do a lot more things than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has such a massive value proposition that it almost just slam dunks it in the first place. Bitcoin's mission is to bring financial sovereignty to the masses. Ethereum's mission is to rebuild the way that the internet works on a decentralized basis. Both of those are huge missions. Bitcoin at the moment has the lead. So could Ethereum overtake Bitcoin if we talk about a pure, unregulated environment where regulatory concerns are not a factor? Then potentially. With that in mind, I'm not so sure. I think that Bitcoin will be staying as the top dog for at least half a decade. Your immune system is like a muscle. You must work it out to strengthen it. You strengthen it by exposing yourself to germs. Well, then my immune system must be super strong because I have a 2-year-old in preschool that loves to bring everything home to me. Fasting for 16 hours a day. It will change your life, brother. I have actually done it before. One time, it's so funny. I really messed up intermittent fasting one time. I tried to do a 23-1 intermittent fasting where you eat all in 1 hour and then you fast for another 23, and I vomited. And the reason I vomited is because I did it really stupid. This is few years ago. I went and I got a Publix meal with fried chicken and fried potato wedges. And so I fasted. I was so hungry, and I just scarfed this all down. I ate so much so fast I puked. So that's my full experience with intermittent fasting. I've heard a lot of good things about like an 8-16 split where you eat in 8 hours and you fast for 16. Yeah. All right. Tim Emery said, please, the God stuff is not appropriate in this forum. Start a religious channel and say those things on that channel. Honestly, love your content, though. Tim, I really love you, and I really appreciate that comment. Respectfully, I'll have to say that on this channel, I'm going to make the content that I feel that I need to make. And so I'm not going to push religion on you guys. It's not my dream at all to force you guys into anything or shame you guys or judge you guys or condemn you guys for anything. You're perfectly welcome here to enjoy 99% of the content where we're talking about finance, but I am going to mention it from time to time because it's something that I believe very seriously is very important. And it's something that has changed my life. It's not Christianity is not a faith like any other. It's a relationship with the Father. You're a servant in many different ideologies, religions, whatever. But there's a relationship in Christianity, and I have a great relationship with my Father in heaven, and I have to share that. You know, I think of it kind of like this. You know, we have our Father in heaven, and you know, I have my 2-year-old. And he goes to preschool and he tells people about me, right? He tells people about his daddy because he loves his father. He loves me. He loves Jebb McAfee, his dad. You know, my son Malachi, he loves to tell people about my daddy did this. And that's kind of how I am. I have my Father in heaven, and he's done so much for me, and I can't help but share it. So, Tim, I don't say that. Was it Tim? I'm sorry, I may have your name wrong. Yes, Tim Emery. In no way do I have any intention to offend you or condemn you or judge you or disrespect you, but I will mention it from time to time because I love my Father and I can't help myself but to share the good that he's done in my life. And there's a video on the channel actually that I'd encourage you to watch if you are interested. You don't have to, but this is just a testimony that I had about when the channel got deleted. The YouTube channel actually got deleted, like off of the internet, and it disappeared. And let's see if I can find the video. It's so long ago. I don't know if I can find the video very quickly. Let me see if I can find it in YouTube here. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but you can look at, actually, hang on, I know how to find it. It's one of the most popular videos on the channel. You just go and sort by popular. Hang tight. If you'd be interested, go over here to the Crypto Jebb YouTube channel, sort by popular, scroll down to this video right here. Our YouTube channel got deleted. Here's what I learned. I told a story in there because the channel got deleted at the time. We had 16 employees. We had, you know, 3 or 4 million views a month coming in. Huge channel. Obviously, we're not quite that big because we're in the bear market right now, but I told the story about how the channel got deleted and I had total peace. Everything that I'd worked for nearly 5 years, boom, vanished overnight. And it sends chills down my spine and gives me goosebumps when I talk about it. I had total peace. And I'll tell you what, I'll be a little bit vulnerable with you. For the first 2 or 3 years of this channel's history, it was the thing that was getting me out of poverty. It was the thing that was changing my life. And I remember thinking, and forgive me here if this is a little bit sensitive, I remember thinking if something ever happened to the channel, I was worried. This is not now. I've not struggled with this in over 5 years. But when I first started the channel, I was worried. This before I was a Christian. I was worried I might end my life. I was so terrified of losing. I was gripping so tightly to the channel. I was so scared that if I lost it, because it was my way of getting out of poverty. I was so scared that if I lost it, I'd lose everything. I was that scared that if I lost it, I was worried that I might hurt myself. And then the channel did get deleted. And I prayed a very simple prayer. God, if there's a punishment that needs to be dealt out, then deal it to me. If I've done something, and I definitely have, if there's a punishment that you need to deal out, deal it to me. But for the sake of our employees who count on this channel for a paycheck and for a mission and for a cause and a purpose, and for the people that watch this channel that count on it because they are growing from what they're learning from it, restore it for their sake, not for mine. If there's a punishment that needs to be dealt out, then deal it to me personally. And I trust you. And I trust that you will do what is right. And I had total peace. I got woken up at 3 in the morning from our chief marketing officer, and he told me the channel was deleted. I did what I needed to do. I contacted the right people. An hour later, I went back to sleep, and I slept like a baby because I had faith. That's the difference that my relationship with my Father in heaven can make, and I cannot be quiet about that. So no disrespect to you, Tim. Don't mean to make an example out of you. I am totally fine with you watching or not. I hope you will stay because I hope there's valuable content here. but I can't help but share that experience. If you had that experience, would you be able to help sharing that? Just think about that. Would you be able to help from sharing that? I can't help from sharing that. It's just, it's the truth. So anyway, I won't spend a lot of time on it, though. I typically spend 98, 99% of our time talking about crypto, but I do just want to mention that. All right. Let's go ahead and read some chat. We're going to go ahead and wrap out here in a few minutes. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. All right, guys, like I said, as far as the kind of the crux of the argument today for the stream, Bitcoin has been facing a lot of headwinds. It's been facing huge dark clouds over it, and those dark clouds are things that the Bitcoin market has got to get through, and I think it will start to get through those. Everything that we can see on the horizon, about mid-June, we're going to start to see some of that pull back, but it's another few weeks. And if another few weeks from now, it might be another few weeks. More things can crop up. But right now, from what we can see, there's another few weeks of dark clouds. Once Bitcoin gets through those, then I think we will be in much better shape. All right, guys. Really appreciate all you guys tuning in. Why are you worried about all these economics, though, if you get to have an afterlife, which is what matters? That's a great question. I don't. Like I said, I don't. I'm not worried about it. Like, the channel could disappear tomorrow, and it would not worry me. Because in Matthew 6, I think it's Matthew 6, Jesus tells us we don't need to worry about those things because doesn't our Father in heaven love us? Doesn't he clothe, doesn't he care for the lilies? Doesn't he care for the birds? Doesn't he care for the animals? Why wouldn't he care for us? He's going to care for us. He's going to do what is good. And I can have trust and faith in that. And even if that doesn't look the way that I think it does. Because what he thinks is good is not always what we think of as good because we don't understand everything that he understands because he's way smarter and more wise than we are. So, am I worried about it? No, I'm not. I'm not worried about any of this. There can be a concern of like, hey, I think this is going to happen, or I think that's going to happen. But am I worried? No, I have peace. I have peace about whether Bitcoin crashes and goes to zero or not. I have peace, and that peace is supernatural. So, good question. Good question. All right. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I'm going to have to wrap it out. Thank you so very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single episode of what we're doing here on the Crypto Jebb YouTube channel. I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, and make sure to stay tuned for that premiere that's coming out in just a little while. Really excited for you guys to see what we're doing over there in that video. I think you're really going to like it. I will see you at that premiere. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good